the same time, the conservative forces also rallied. The Vatican, with the help of the Dominicans, silenced Matthew Fox, who came out with a creation theology, a theology that said we have to pay much more attention to the earth. We had the beginnings of glasnost and perestroika, and what that meant was, it was the first, I mean, the significance of this is not whether Gorbachev wins, but the significance of it was that a world leader for the first time said, there's no over there, over there. There's no, he was saying by the importance of glasnost is that he's saying the myth of warfare, by which we've existed since the beginning of the agricultural revolution, it's over. It's over because the myth of warfare depended upon there being a foreign field and an enemy over there, and our ability to send a sacred group of soldiers over to destroy an enemy over there, protect the civilians here, and then come back in triumph. And what nuclear weapons meant is that warfare as a myth is over because there's no way to export violence into an over there without it coming back to get us. So the idea, the growing realization that any modern warfare is at once both genocide and suicide. Looked at psychologically, what it means is that there's no way to kill the other without killing ourselves. Now, meanwhile, look what happens. Meanwhile, life goes on as usual. The rainforests continue to disappear at an alarming rate. No major nation makes any kind of long-range plans to deal with the coming necessary end of a petroleum economy. The sale of weapons to the third world continues at its murderous rate, being led by the United States and the Soviet Union, with Israel and Brazil rapidly getting into the bloody business. Still, there's very little worldwide effort to deal with the problem of population. The major industrial nations in the West have the hope that they can export dirty industry to the third world, and that we can change our economy from a production economy, where we have to deal with the messiness of matter, into an information economy, and that we can have a clean economy, and that we export all of the dirtier aspects to places where labor is cheap. In the same way that we have tried, because of the impossibility of mega violence between the major world powers, we've exported violence to the third world, where now we have surrogates to do our fighting for us. And so we try to do that in a small way. Shadow wars, low-intensity conflicts. Events. What do they mean? What do they mean that one part of the body politic is saying, it's over? The old myth is over. We've got to learn a new way to live. We've got to learn a new way to be in this earth, to relate to it, a new kind of self-understanding. And the other part of the body politic keeps going on with business as usual. But what I think it means is that we have two worlds in collision. We have two myths in collision. We have two visions of what the heroic life is about in collision. One of them, the myth of the dominant culture, is still the old Enlightenment myth. And it's the myth of triumph. It's the myth that now, as the Enlightenment notions are blended with technology, the myth that we can keep on with technological process, with technological progress forever and ever, that we can make more and better things, that there is triumph in human history without any tragedy, that there is more and plenty without any kind of price having to be paid for it. This is the myth of the domination, that we can dominate nature. It's the myth of conquest. It's the myth of salvation through knowledge. It's the Gnostic myth that we can rise more and more above nature and matter and manipulate it to our own ends. And the other myth, which for the lack of any better word, I would call it the quantum myth or the ecological myth, says, no, that's not the way human life is. Human life is a part of a web. We are inexorably connected one to another. The first myth is really the myth of the triumph of individuals.